I did open houses. If I was free on a Sunday, I was holding one open. I mean, I did them.
You were putting in the work.
Yeah, I did. And you have to. You can't just, if your phone isn't ringing, you have to do the things to make it ring.
Yes. We're Sahara and Michaela, co-founders of Refine Marketing.
From corporate 9-to-5s to building and scaling multiple million-dollar companies in less than 5 years, we're not afraid to get into the nitty-gritty.
Giving you a raw and real look at what it takes to build and sustain a business.
This is Rise and Refine.
Well, happy Monday. Welcome back to Rise and Refine podcast. We have a very special guest.
Yes, and she is one of my very best friends.
Yes.
She's a real estate agent out of Anniston, Alabama. So, Taylor, why don't you go ahead and give a little introduction?
Okay. Yeah, my name's Taylor. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams, and I sell in Northeast Alabama is usually what people say, but really it's Calhoun County and the surrounding areas. So a lot of people, Calhoun County is very small, you know, compared to like Madison.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will ask like, where is that? And it's truly the halfway point between Birmingham and Atlanta.
Oh,
So yeah,
that's
yeah.
an easy way to say it.
It's the halfway point in between the two. And which is nice because I can do like referrals, you know, in both of those areas. And then I have been an agent. I'm coming up on completing 3 years. Yeah, 3 years, November 1st.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
I'm
That's
married.
exciting.
I have a dog.
Aw.
Yeah, you're building a
Pretty much
house right now.
Yes, yeah, we're
A
building
lot
a
of
house right
life
now.
things. That's
Yes.
exciting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're your own worst client? With me, when I built this house, I stressed myself out and I wanted to fire myself.
Yeah, so actually it's been a really stressful week because not even with the builder, and it's really not even the bank's fault, I guess. It's just been like getting the draws is very stressful.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're like really picky about the draws coming out. And it's funny that you talk about it being stressful because I kid you not, last night and the night before, I like cried.
Yeah.
For like hours. Night before last, I didn't even sleep because
When it's our own
just been a
client, it's
stressful
fine.
week.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
sometimes it's really not stressful and it's not that big of a deal, but then sometimes it kind of all catches up with you, especially when there's like 15 people at your house working on stuff
can't
at
even
once.
imagine.
And and you're dropping off checks for 10,000, 15, you know, all that.
Aw.
So it can get kind of stressful, and it can get kind of stressful too. Like some of the things I want are custom. And I'm having trouble finding like contractors or people to do some of the custom things I want.
Yeah.
Because it's really not that big of there's not that big of like a custom market in Calhoun County. So I'm having to go abroad for that. And it's just
Because it's such a small
stressful.
town, y'all probably don't have access to as much.
Yeah, it's very small. Please don't ask me how many people are in my county because I don't know.
I won't ask you because I wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
So what did you do before real estate?
Okay, so when I graduated college, I started working at Jacksonville State, also known as Jack State.
Okay.
That's in Jacksonville, Alabama. So the county I live in, it's a really small college town. And I worked there. I was the assistant director of alumni and engagement.
Okay.
So it was like a Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, but I did a lot of event planning, social media, fundraising. It was a very PR centric job.
So it was like 9 to 5. Okay. So why did you want to get into real estate?
So my dad is a business owner, first off, and I've like always admired that, and I've always thought it was cool because I have divorced parents, and growing up, like my dad, I would see him every other weekend, but he lived like about an hour from me.
Yeah.
But like, and I knew and remember as a kid him working a lot, but like he did not miss my stuff. Like sports, he was there. You know, he's my biggest fan in all of those things. But yes, seeing my dad be a business owner was awesome. And I also just love, to an extent, because I think a lot of people think real estate is super flexible, but at the end of the day, you have to say yes to a lot.
It's a lot of opportunity in
you
sales.
have to be okay saying yes when you want to say no. And so I wanted the flexibility, and I also just love the idea of like working for myself.
Yeah.
So I wasn't happy at my job, and so I remember sitting and talking to one of my friends that worked there at the time, and she was saying, I have this many more years till I can retire. And I mean, she's like 50 now. So I mean, she was, you know, we all have friends at work that are like older than us.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there doing the math in my head of how much longer I had to work there to retire. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, I could not work here for that much longer. So
You're like, yep, not doing that.
yeah. And then, you know, so cliche of me to say, but it is true. I love that like everything is different. It's a new day, but I also like how I get to utilize my experiences with public relations and marketing to be good at my job.
Yeah.
I was about to ask that because your experience in PR, is that why you spent so much money and time into your social media and your marketing?
Yes. Yeah. So when I started in real estate, I literally got married and came back from my honeymoon and turned in my 2 weeks at Jack State. So that was 2021.
Holy cow.
When
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was so fast.
Yeah. So when I started, I knew that the marketing was going to be what would set me apart. And I knew I already was good at it because I was doing it. I did it in college. I did it for Jack State, for the alumni department.
Did you already have a really saturated market in Anniston, or was in terms of real estate agents?
Well, my office alone, there's, I think, 108 of us.
Gotcha.
That's in
Dang.
our brokerage. And then there's about 6 other brokerages. I would say there's probably 200 to 250 of us. And, you know, for Huntsville, that may not sound like a lot,
But it's a small town.
yeah, I knew when I went into it that was what I was going to have to focus on to be good at it, just because there were a couple other people that did it, but not in the sense of like a young mind.
Yeah.
I'm very young compared to the agents that I work with and those that are around me. But I knew that the whole like marketing aspect was going to be what I had to focus on, especially in the beginning when I'm still learning how to be a real estate agent, how to lead generate, because I didn't learn that when I was studying for the test.
No, they do not teach you that at
Yeah.
all. They do not. So that's why I love like talking to other real estate agents and why we wanted you on today, because whether someone's a real estate agent or not, you're a small business owner. And so you had a first year in business, just like we both did. And so kind of go through your first year in business. Like, what do you feel like your strengths were and your struggles, and just kind of talk about that first year?
So my first year, my struggles were definitely things that were a me problem. I was so worried about what people thought about me.
When you say thought about you because of your age or how young or your lack of experience?
So I think it was a little bit of everything, the lack
Gotcha.
of experience, but then I truthfully, and I'm just being transparent.
Be
We talk about
transparent, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a really good first year, and I felt like having a pretty successful first year made me feel like I had some eyes on me,
Right.
their clientele or whatever, because
So you were almost like uncomfortable with the
success.
yeah, and the probably like the just with real estate agents, especially in your office, there is a little bit of a competitive feeling.
Yes.
And for me, that like made me have a bigger drive. I was
Yes.
never scared of that, but for some people, like they're like, "Oh, I'm a little nervous about that."
So it's funny you bring that up because I'm a super competitive person when it comes to everything. But what I don't want to ever do is like lose a friendship. I do have a very small handful of agents that I'm kind of in a circle with, and I would never want to do anything to like harm a friendship I have with them. But also, like, truthfully, business is business. So, you know, sometimes you're put in a position, and the reason I'm glad you brought this up is because I just went through this. You're put in a position where one of your friends' past clients reach out to you.
Oh,
And
that's tough.
and my heart says, that's my friend. I need to pay my friend a referral.
Yeah.
My team leader, like our office leader at work, is saying business is business. You have to learn to set them apart. And I'm still growing and learning in that aspect. I've always enjoyed social media and I've always been a poster, you know, but I was never, until I was an agent, a get on stories and talk
Yes.
person.
Yeah.
And so there's a sense of discomfort that comes with like doing that and like marketing yourself on Facebook and saying, especially as a new agent, because you want to market and get yourself out there.
But you're still learning how to also talk about it at the same time.
And I'm saying, here's why you should use me. And it's kind of like, I've sold 5 houses.
Yes. Yes.
So you go through that. You go through that like really weird phase where it's like, oh gosh, like, I'm practicing what I'm preach, or I'm trying to.
Yeah. So talk about that for those who are getting started in business. I think anyone, even if like you have a degree in it, when it's your first year and you're talking about it, it is uncomfortable because you do lack experience in just running a business or having a certain amount of clients. So how did you get past that? Like, did you just find certain subjects to talk about that Like more knowledge side versus number side?
So I started focusing on, first off, when I would post, it was very like generic things, pretty much not Etsy templates, but what would be Etsy templates.
Yeah.
Super generic terminology that I knew. I didn't post market updates, market stats, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to look at that. I didn't know yet how to go in and see how many houses had sold in my county in the past month. And so it just kind of started with doing the very generic things. And then, so I started in November, and then in February is when I had my first client. I did a lot of like posting about the storyline of like how I got her contract to close, testimonials, things like that. But I also did a lot of marketing for open houses. Like I did open houses. If I was free on a Sunday, I was holding one open. I mean, I did them.
You were putting in the work.
Yeah, I did. And you have to. You can't just, if your phone isn't ringing, you have to do the things to make it ring.
Yes.
And so I was doing a lot of the open houses, and I learned doing that like some people like on Facebook, they don't realize, even though I would give listing courtesy to the listing agent, they would see me and be like, I see all these houses you're selling. And I'm thinking, no, I'm just holding them open.
It's actually like, it's like a little mind trick. I mean, if you're not busy, there's ways to make it seem like you're busy.
Yeah. And then once I got comfortable, about a year in, I did my first event. So I do the real estate events a lot now.
Okay, so slow it down. Go back.
Okay, let's go back to. Okay, you got your first client, right?
Yes.
So it was kind of like
no, it's fine. I could keep going and going, so y'all are gonna have to steer me.
Okay.
Yes.
So you got your first client. It was a referral from your mom, pretty much.
Yeah.
So where did the next couple of clients trickle in after that? And how many clients did you end up? How many homes did you end up closing on in your first year to make you so successful for your county?
So the people that came after that, it was all people that I like knew already, like in my sphere.
So your sphere.
My sphere, the sphere of influence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
So these were all cold leads. You didn't even know if they were
just
looking to
sphere
buy
of
or sell.
influence. Like I went through my phone contacts and my Facebook friends, and I just like added people. Like, I know this person. I'm going to tell them I'm an agent.
Yeah.
And so it started coming from the sphere of influence or referrals from the people in the sphere. So like,
was there any fear in that, though, with reaching out to them?
Yes, it's so cringy.
Really?
It's so cringy. Yeah, especially like, I had a great high school experience. I don't want to sound like mean, but it's kind of like someone you haven't talked to since high school. It's kind of weird.
It is weird.
Reaching out
I
to
can
them
imagine.
being like, life update.
Yeah, I'd much rather talk to people I don't know when it comes to cold calling than people I do know.
Yeah, especially people you do know that's like distant from you.
Especially if you come from a small town, because I also come from a small town. I can't even imagine reaching out to half of those people right now.
But I really think that like a lot of it really, once it kind of snowballed, people connected with me from social media. And like there was one girl, I sold a house last year. This lady, she was moving in with her fiance, and she literally told me at the listing appointment that I told myself that I was going to get on Facebook and let fate decide, and whoever's post popped up is who I was going to call. She had narrowed it down to me and 2 other agents.
Yeah.
And she got on there, and
you were there. You're always there.
Yeah. So my first year, I would have to look at my Instagram for units. I did like, I think 5.2 million my first year.
For those who don't know, because we don't have a lot of realtors, right? We have a lot of small business owners, but in real estate, 5.2 million is a really amazing number for your first year as a newbie.
Yeah. Well, for us, like, I don't know how many units that would be for Huntsville, but like,
it's a lower price point where you are.
Yeah, like what's y'all's average price point?
360.
Okay, so right now in an inflated market, we're at 220. But like my first year, the average price point was around 205.
Yeah, so you had to do a lot.
Lot of units. Yeah. So like last year I did a little over 10 million, and I think that was right around 50 units in a year.
So you almost doubled.
Yeah.
You basically did double.
I doubled the productivity
from year 1 to year 2.
It really, like, it's kind of crazy because in the start, like everything felt so slow and you're paying those splits because Keller Williams has the capping thing. So for those that don't know, like you pay a split, and when you cap that year, you get 100% till the next year, and then it starts over. So it felt very slow starting out because I'm also paying coaches that our office had, and just the traditional,
all the expenses to being a business,
monthly fees, all that. And then once it really started snowballing, it's kind of like time just flew by so fast, and I blinked and I was like, oh my gosh, how did I end up here?
It goes by so fast.
It does. And when you're in the thick of it, it's like, oh, this is kind of miserable. Like, why did I do this? And so I just blinked and I was like, wow, like everything I was supposed to do that I did, even when I didn't feel like doing it, paid off. And I think back to when I quit my job at Jack State, like, I mean, I had already told Seth, my husband, I was thinking about quitting, and then I just kind of decided to do it, and my parents were pissed.
That you quit your...
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, you just went to a degree.
I got into an argument in a local restaurant with my mom and left in tears. Like, it was bad.
So were they pissed because you just went to college, got a degree, got this job, and
it was more, you're 25, you just got married, you have insurance, you have retirement when you work here for long enough, you have benefits, yada yada, and I'm like, but I'm not happy, and like at what cost? Is the happiness. Like,
ooh, that's a tip right there.
Yeah. I mean, it was just kind of like, there comes a point, I understand those things are important. Like, we have insurance now.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't live life without it. But like, there comes a point where it's like, you have a decision to make. And is the insurance worth you being miserable every day? Like, just pay for a different kind of insurance. I just was kind of like, it's not worth it. Like, I'm just going to jump and do it. But ever since that happened to me, I'm so like poster child. Like, I'll be telling my friends, like, if they're miserable, I'm like, just quit your job. Like, it's not too late to start over and do something different. But I truly believe that. Like,
I'm the same way.
Yeah,
I'm the
like
same way with Refined.
Yeah, like if you're 60 years old and you hate your job, quit. Do something else because life is too precious to just be miserable. You spend a lot of time working.
You do. I have a lot of people on my team. I have one actually who just spent 20 years in the banking industry and always wanted to do real estate. And she left banking and 20 years of it to do it.
Queen.
Holy
right?
hell.
A queen.
I see people start over all the time. I think, y'all are different because it's just you and me and you're just by yourself now. But I see it all the time.
It's easy to say as a 25-year-old. You know, like I get it, but like,
it doesn't matter what age you are.
Yeah, because it really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, like, if you don't have like a happy, healthy life, then like, what are you even doing?
Yeah. Or if you fail and it doesn't work out,
who cares?
Choose something else and try again.
Yeah.
Like,
you're not going to know unless you try.
Yeah, you're really not.
Yeah.
So
There's
now your
success and
parents,
failure.
there is.
Oh,
now what do your parents think now?
Yeah, they're like my biggest supporters now, other than my husband.
Yeah.
They're very like, I remember a point my dad was like, well, I was wrong. And I know it killed him to say that because we're just alike. But he just reached a point, and he's so proud of me, and my mom is so proud of me, and them wanting me to still do that job, that is them loving me and trying to look out for my best interest. But like at the end of the day, it's kind of like, thank gosh I did it. And they even know, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of funny though, because your dad was a business owner, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny that he was like against it.
So he was a business owner too during like the recession. So he
has a very skewed view of business ownership. He has been in the thick
of it, and that's what I'm sure. That's like what he was thinking about was those several years where he was like. I mean, I was so young, but I can now that I'm older and so much more aware, I can only imagine like the things that I get like teary eyed. The things that he sacrificed to be able to just make it. He's very good about money management, and he's taught me a lot about that. And when I started in real estate, I had a lot of questions for him too, just like as a business owner, like what is the best thing for me to do, especially when it comes to taxes. So I'm very lucky that he is experienced and successful, but I do think he was just being very wary because, the economy is so just up and down, and he knows how the worst can be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And he was just nervous about that for you.
Yeah. And whenever you're working at a college, a 9-to-5 with a set salary, like you don't feel the effects of those things because you're getting paid your salary, period.
Yeah. Especially when you have employees.
I can't even imagine.
Very stressful.
I can't imagine, like, I'm responsible for myself
Yeah.
And sometimes I stress myself out. So I can't imagine like being responsible for other agents and like coaching them, because I'm not perfect, you know. I mean, no one is.
No
but
one is.
I can't imagine, you know.
It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. And you
you're
may
a
get
mom,
there.
like you have so much going on. It's crazy.
Yeah, she's Wonder
We were
Woman.
talking-
I literally don't even know how she does it.
When we went to lunch, I was like asking so many questions. I was like, how does she balance everything? Like, how does she do that?
Listen to our episode. Literally, like, you should see my calendar. It's like literally time
I
management.
noticed in there you have is it a sky?
Yeah,
light
so
or whatever?
yes. So
Yeah.
that combines like my calendar and my 3-year-old's calendar.
Yeah.
So we can see where we're at.
Yeah.
But no, it's a lot. And it's a lot of pressure when you have other people. Just like one day, you know, you'll reach a point in your career where you're going to have to make the decision. You can only do so many transactions as an independent agent. And you'll have to make that decision of, do I grow and take on risk, or do I stay where I'm at? Which is okay. People have done both. But you have to make that decision one day. And it's very scary when you make that decision.
I feel like the model I would like to follow is like, because I've seen firsthand other people that like they have hit the ceiling and they could break through that, but they can't because they refuse to hire someone. They refuse to let an assistant do their paperwork, you know, and I can't. If I reached that point, like I would need the help. And so I kind of did like a trial run, if you will, with like an assistant last year. It went fine. I feel like our work style was a little bit different, but so much love for her. Like we get along. We have a great relationship. And she also ended up moving, and I needed someone where
you
I
are.
was.
Oh, that's so important.
Yes. I needed someone I could like meet up with. I had like prayed about it for a while, and she like, should I do this? Should I not? And she reached out to me like on her own. So I was like, well, there's my sign. And so anyway, I took the risk on it. It was great. She got me through a super busy season, but then it reached a point where I felt like things were slowing down in our county. Since then they've picked up, but we went through like a weird dip in our county. And, I felt like then I didn't really like need her, but I also didn't want to let her go. And then she ended up having to move. So I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh my gosh.
Miss you, but thank gosh.
That is the tough part. When you choose to grow, you're going to have to go through points where if it's slow, that's not your employee's fault.
And it's hard having like tough conversations like to an assistant, because it's like, gosh, you're 45 and I'm 25. Like, how do I tell you, like, I need you to do it this way instead of, you know,
you hired
just
somebody
like
older?
I did, yes. And like in hindsight, I don't know that I would do that again. I would be open to it. It's nothing about her. It's just that I think there was kind of like a threshold that I just could not bring myself to cross with that. Yeah.
And let me know when you figure out how to hire an assistant.
Yeah.
Because I go
Sarah
through
also
them like
struggles with an
this.
assistant.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't want to be the person that has a new assistant every year. Like, I think that
I had to stop hiring because I went through 2 in 6 months.
And I'm thinking like I look
That
like
makes
I'm
me
the
sound
problem.
bad.
So yeah.
No,
And
I'm the problem. I know it.
yeah. So I just feel like I just would need to be more careful. And I do think I would need to hire someone younger than me, but it's also difficult because it's kind of difficult for me to grasp because I'm not yet in a position where I would want to like pay someone a salary. But like if I get there, I absolutely will. So it's just kind of, I don't know. It's like a weird concept.
You're in that weird, almost ready to grow, but not quite ready.
I'm in that weird in between where I have so much business that I'm super overwhelmed and I'm working a lot of nights and weekends, even to do office work, computer work. But I also feel like I'm not quite at that level where I'm ready to like pay someone a set salary. And there's a lot of transaction coordinators in our area. Yeah. That's someone that just does like the paperwork for you know, and gets it uploaded. But for me, like, and I don't know if I'm just too high maintenance or what, but like I would want someone that exclusively works for me because I think there's kind of a weird gray area where if you hire a TC that's working for 4 other agents, like I think it just kind of, I don't know that it'd work for me.
Yeah.
That's how we feel about social media management with Refined. Like I have such a hard time even wanting to release that to somebody. And I said the only way that we would be able to do that is if we brought somebody on full time because you're not going to fully understand our brand, at least in my mind. Like you're not going to be able to fully understand our brand voice. And I know that's what they're trained to do. That's what I mean, that's how they work with other clients.
But you built your brand from like y'all did that yourselves from the ground up. So it's like, I see how it's very hard to.
It's all in my head.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the hardest part. And Sahara hates it most days because it just
but that's
lives
why y'all
in my
work
head.
so well together. You know?
Yeah. Okay, let's pivot really fast to your social media because that's such a strong point for your business, and you get a ton of now social media leads. Whether that's off of Facebook or Instagram. So start with, did you switch your personal account to a business account and just use that, or did you create a whole new account?
I created a whole new account that is my business account, and like you, I get in my head, and sometimes I'm thinking I could have a larger audience if they were combined.
Yeah.
It's a difficult decision.
It's very difficult, but I also feel like combining them, I almost feel like part of my audience would like check out because like my personal page is like private, like it's a private account. I don't let some people follow me. My business one is obviously a public account, and I don't know that the people that follow me on the personal, or more importantly, the people that follow me on the business would like want to see. And now I do post personal things on my business page. I think that's so important to do.
Yeah, I'm sure you post about real estate on your personal page.
Yeah, and I do. And I feel like, especially on Facebook, but on Instagram, like I do sometimes catch myself being like, should I have combined them? Like almost like second guessing. But then I just tell myself, like, I'll worry about it for 2 or 3 days, then I'll forget about it for 6 months. Then 6 months later, I'll be like, should I have done this? And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the perfect formula or answer for that, but I do have them separate right now. And I kind of plan to keep it that way unless my marketing, my website people tell me otherwise.
So yeah, Taylor's also a client of ours as of August of 2024.
Yeah, because I literally, like, y'all could be like, you need to do this on your page, and like, I'll do it, no questions asked. Because like, obviously, what y'all have done works, you know, and like, I want an audience.
We aren't all the bread and butter. I mean, we're
like,
still figuring it out too.
Like, I don't care about having like 200,000 followers, whatever, because my job is to sell houses.
Right.
If you're getting leads from it and it's working.
However, I'm getting leads from social media, and I'm getting referrals from other agents that follow me. And so it's just, I've been able to like make money in that aspect and like build even more on my business outside of just like my sphere.
Yeah. I think it's hard.
I think it's important to keep it separate though.
Yeah.
I mean, ours are obviously, we didn't transfer our personal to a business account. So we have our own personals. I think yours private?
No, it's not, but I post once every 7 months.
Yeah, I feel
on
like
my
I've gotten
personal.
to that point too.
I don't know how to say this. Like, I don't want it to sound bad, but like, I'm just going to say it. Like, some people that follow me on my business page, I don't know that I would want them to follow me on my personal page because that's a whole different type of content.
They may not want to.
Yeah.
Right. They came to you for business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it is business at the end of the day. It's not like we become family with all the clients we work with.
That was something that I wanted to be very intentional with, of keeping my personal page separate from Refine. But we did have a lot of trouble figuring out if we wanted to do a separate podcast page. That was something that we were
like, if you branch out of the main business, that was.
So your branding and your marketing specifically, I know we're switching things up here in the next month or two.
Yeah.
So you are known in your area for what you do in terms of your branding, your marketing, your videography, how you market yourself, what you do for your houses and your clients. So talk about why you wanted to go that route and setting yourself apart.
To be different. I mean, everyone does. Everyone, when I entered the industry, everyone was doing the same thing. There was nothing.
What is the same thing?
Like template posts.
Okay.
Just list it under contract.
If it was a listing video, it was just a virtual tour, but there was no like personality or substance to it. It was just like some soft music with a walkthrough of the house, which is great if that's your thing, but like, that's not me. So, you know, I knew going into it too that I was going to have to kind of like level up the game in that aspect. Like, it was just all very standard. And so I entered in, and I was like, for my first round of headshots, which I look back at them and I don't hate them, but I had on so much makeup. Like, I got my makeup done for whatever reason. And then it's funny because when I did new branding pictures last year, I got my makeup done and canceled the shoot. Like, I got my makeup done and I called the photographer Tiffany, and I was like, I can't do this. Like, I don't look like myself. Like, I can't do it. So we like canceled it and postponed it for like 2 weeks later, and I just did my own. Because I'm like a skin tint girly, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and it's so annoying because when I use pictures from my very first shoot ever, men are like, that doesn't look like you. And I'm like, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. And so, anyways, that first shoot, I did lifestyle type. I guess you could call it lifestyle.
That's what we would call it.
I did not do pictures on a couch with something behind me. I
Yes.
did pictures in a kitchen, pictures on a front porch, and no one had done that. I just like did those things to like set myself apart. And since
So you
then,
would stand out.
Yeah, and since then I've like done more, and I've like evolved in these photo shoots.
Very much so.
But it's just so funny because like when I started, no one was doing that, and like now you're starting to see agents do pictures in the kitchen and pictures with
Everywhere.
keys, and it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And now it's everywhere so much where it's kind of like you can't do that now because that
I struggle
is-
with the same
that
thing.
is the new
Yes.
sitting on the couch with the solid background. So you have
Yes.
to continue to
Yes.
like evolve.
It's hard. I was the same way when I started my team. It was like everybody's doing the white, black backgrounds. They all went to the same place to get it done. Heavy makeup, highly edited. And I was one of the first ones in our area to do the lifestyle pictures with my whole team, not just me. Now everybody does it.
I'm obsessed with y'all stuff. Like, I love the branding. I'm obsessed with like the luxurious aspect of your team's branding.
We don't even necessarily focus on luxury homes. It's more luxury service and branding and service.
Yes.
But then you see the fun side and we try to mix
Yes.
it.
Yeah, like your videos, like the video style and like the logos, your website, like it's very crisp and clean and it's giving like luxury experience, but then your social media is so like real.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with it. I
Well,
love
thank
it.
you. But it's hard. Like we were talking about this, like when people start copying you, it sucks because you work so hard. And then we all feel like we have to think outside the box again. Like that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, crap, everyone's doing what I've been doing. And
Yeah.
now I need to be different.
And I understand, like, so when that first started happening to me, like, I understand, like, people saying, like, it's the best form of flattery. And, like, I get it. Like, great. I'm glad that, you know, I kind of brought something new to the table for my county. But it does get frustrating. And I've gotten better. My first, like, year, even second year, I was bad about, like, I would almost hold a grudge. Like, I'm kind of like, you really can't think of your own thing, respectfully. But now it's just kind of like, I'm just gonna have to
what
keep,
it is.
I'm just gonna have to keep pivoting.
Well, I mean, I think the latest thing is you do a ton of event marketing for your business. And y'all have some younger agents that have entered into your market that are now doing very similar events to you. I know that has to be, I mean, like, it has to be frustrating.
Yeah.
It has to be frustrating because, like, you are such a creative person and you put so much time and energy into your events. I mean, okay, so if you go look at her Instagram, Realtor Taylor McAllister, look at her trucking with Taylor. Like, it is
was fun.
the cutest thing ever. So
No,
just,
you
like,
can. You put a
talk
lot into your
through-
events.
Yeah, talk through events and how you've had to learn how to pivot.
So the events, for me, the first one I ever did was, it's sweet to be a homeowner. I love a play on words. I love alliteration. Like, I'm just a wordy gal. Like, I love that. I'm an English minor. And so I didn't know how it was going to go.
When you say event, you were targeting home sellers, home buyers.
So it depends on the event. So that one was home buying.
Okay. And how did you get people to show up?
I marketed it on social media and
With what? Like, what did you do?
like posts.
Okay.
I took some photos for it. I always do like promo photos
Yeah.
because I mean, I can use those later and I just feel like it really catches the attention.
Yeah.
I feel like a Canva graphic just doesn't cut it.
No.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I got started doing it. And I was so worried about it, but like it went really well.
Yeah.
And so after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to do another one. So then I did one for sellers and then it went really well.
So how many people did you get at your first event?
At the first one, I had 12 people.
That's good.
Dang,
Yeah,
that's actually
Because I
really
want to
good.
set
Good.
expectations and transparent expectations for people. Cause I also do events and we host them. And it's like when you do your first one, you may get 5 people. Then you do your second one, you may get 20.
Yeah.
Because they talk about it or they show up more and they want to come to it or they tell their friends and family. So it's not like you're going to, I don't want anyone to think they're going to think of an event, go out there, post it, and all of a sudden have 50 people.
Yeah. And also, everybody's different, but I personally don't want that because I want to connect one-on-one with everyone there because I want every single one of them to be my client. My goal every time is to produce one closing from it because that pays for it.
Yes. Right.
Well, that does, I profit too. But
You
like,
profit. You
that
just need
covers
one
the
person.
cost.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I started doing, so after I was like really doing the buyer and seller stuff, I started doing like community events. So I had like a bunny bash. I partnered with like a local cupcake shop.
Yeah.
And I, ordered an Easter bunny costume and my dad dressed up as the Easter bunny and I hired one of my favorite local photographers and invited, I just did this on Facebook. I invited anyone to come to that event during that time frame and get a free professional photo with the Easter bunny. So then I go and there were over 70 families that came to that. It was huge. I didn't get to connect with all of them on a genuine level. However, I had a sign-in sheet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
you
you got
got captured
ask.
it.
Name, phone number, email.
Yes.
Add them to my newsletter. Now I'm in
Yes.
contact with them at least once a month.
Yeah.
Now they're in my sphere of influence. You know, I emailed them their professional pictures. Like, so it grew from there. I'm doing one with Santa.
I want to like dig into events a little bit more, too, because events aren't necessarily something you thought of and created.
Yeah.
What you did that was different was work and small details that goes into it to make the event stand out.
Yeah, and what I've learned about these events is like you can't just offer someone, like you can't just be like, come to this event, we'll talk about home buying and I'll feed you. It has to be more than that. But what I've also learned is it kind of is like a transaction. So I can't just be like, hey, I'll have refreshments, come listen to me talk about buying a home. I had to say, hey, welcome home. We're going to build fall door hangers with like a local creative designer. And I'm covering the cost of your door hanger. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about real estate. So come hang out.
You make it like interesting, interactive.
Yeah.
People don't want to come to an event and be bored by you talking.
It has to be a transactional experience.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So what's been the biggest source of where you've gotten most of your business? Is it social media? Is it referrals? Is it events?
Referrals is definitely the lowest.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I don't do any like paid
Okay.
Leads.
I don't do that either. I would say the most, I'm reaching a point now where I'm starting to feel like it's the social media, and I really couldn't say that until this year. And I think the reason why is because could I call my Facebook friends my sphere of influence? Yes, but they're really not. Like they're
Yeah.
reaching out to me because
You're posting.
Because I'm posting, they're seeing what I'm selling because I'm posting it. They're seeing me work hard to sell a house. They're seeing me
Right.
hold the house open. They're seeing me market it creatively. So I feel like I'm reaching a point where probably like 40% is from social media. And then I would say I probably like agents from other areas doing referrals 5%, and then the rest would probably be like sphere of influence. So I think my prediction is by the end of next year, I think because I keep track of when I do a closing, I keep track of like what the lead, where they came from, the origination. Yeah. And I think that by the end of next year, I will probably be about 60% off of social media.
You're basically
Finally.
small town famous. That is
Oh
what
my
you
gosh.
are. So I went down there to help Taylor with her newest branding photo shoot last week, actually. And
fun.
very, very fun. Cannot wait to see how the pictures turn out.
Me too.
But she literally is small town famous. The amount of people that know her, it's ridiculous.
I think I just have the personality too. Like I don't meet a stranger.
No, you do not.
Like I can talk to a wall, and I think that's kind of why I'm good at sales. And it's so funny because I think back to like being in high school, I wanted to be a nurse. And I remember one of my favorite teachers telling me like, Taylor, you're not going to be a nurse. You're going to go into sales.
Well, I don't think you're scared to be different and put yourself out there too.
Well, I knew when I started like being different, it came naturally because I am different.
Yeah.
But it was uncomfortable. But like I knew, like if I'm really gonna go all in, like all cards on the table, then I'm just gonna have to be myself, my different self, and just lean in.
Yeah. 1,000%. What do you think you still struggle with, like, to this day in business?
Compare myself to other people. Other real estate agents. I'm like, my God, this person has sold 13 million this year. And I'm thinking, well, duh, like they've been doing it for 25 years.
Yeah.
Of course they have. Those people, it's like, well, their clientele is retired and they're buying houses on Lake Wedowee and selling their huge house. And you know, like they're just in a different bracket.
Price point.
Yeah, different bracket than I am. And I really don't even know if this is a struggle. Like, I think sometimes it works to my benefit, but I think sometimes it does, like, kick my tail. I, like, constantly want to know, what can I do now? What can I do next? What is something else I can do that no one else has done? I'm constantly looking for, and sometimes I get so focused on doing that I forget to do the things that I need to do every day and like the basic stuff. So sometimes it's hard to just remember, like,
slow down.
Yeah, slow down.
Yeah.
I can plan my next event, but I don't have to plan 3 at once, especially when they're going to be 6 months apart.
So there is a huge piece of your marketing that we have not even touched on, and it is the disco ball. So
Yes, let's talk about the disco ball.
You obviously, like, there's a whole story behind the disco ball, but you did disco ball before disco balls were what they are today.
I did.
Like, you were the OG when it comes to
on
disco balls.
before you could walk into any store and see one sitting there.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes. So talk about how that all got started.
Yeah.
And start it with your wedding, please.
Okay, yeah. So when I got married, I knew I wanted to do something different. I don't know why I have to be so different, but I do.
It's okay, we relate.
I wanted to do something different that I hadn't seen like people do. I wanted a disco ball installation done at my wedding. And I wanted to do it like over the dance floor. Like I wanted to have, you know, a bunch of disco balls hanging with like some greenery, just to like elevate the space and just do something different.
Yeah.
And by then, like I just always, it's so weird. I've just always liked a disco ball. Like they're so pretty, you know, like I don't know. I just always have. And I also feel like I have kind of like a bejeweled personality, like a bedazzling, like out there.
Your shirt reminds me of a disco ball.
Not like a bedazzling personality, but just kind of like not basic. Like I would like to think that I'm fun, you know?
Yeah.
So
You're very fun.
yeah. So it was something that I like budgeted. Like I was like, I want this. Like I'm going to just pay for it, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I did that. Well, then like if I met someone and became friends with them, but like I was friends with them after my wedding, I would talk about my wedding and they would be like, are you that girl that had the disco balls? And I'm like, yeah. And so it just kind of stuck. I don't know. And so then when I started in real estate, I knew I didn't want to do like a house logo because everybody does that.
Everyone does that.
Yeah. And so I was like, I think I'm going to like take ownership of the disco ball and just like own it and like let it be its own thing. Like it's kind of spunky, whatever. So I just committed to it. Seriously. Like once I decided I was going to do it, even when I felt like, I don't know if I want to incorporate this time or whatever, I just made myself do it. Like, you know, and I ended up loving it.
You were so consistent with it.
Yes. Yeah. And now it's like paying off because, you know, when you spend a lot of time like marketing yourself, especially on social media, you feel like you spend so much time doing it, but that it's not clicking. Like it's kind of like when you lose weight, like you can lose 15 pounds, but no one notices. But then when you hit 20, people start saying like, oh, you've lost weight. So that's like how I feel about my social media marketing. Well, I just kept doing it. Yeah. Aww. And so I'm reaching that point now where like it's sticking, obviously.
Yeah. Because you stuck to it and it was consistent.
It's clicking. So like it wasn't always fun committing to it, but like now it's starting to. And that's why I'm so excited about the website because I'm in this era where I'm like, okay, I'm becoming a woman. Like I'm almost 30, whatever. But I'm like, I can't let go of the disco ball now. Yeah. Because everybody, and I never will, because now everybody knows.
Yeah.
Right.
And so
you've spent years at this point.
Yeah.
You're finishing up your 3rd year, right?
Yeah.
See, that's why I tell
November 1st will be day 1 of year 4.
Yes. That's why I tell Michaela all the time. I'm like, the 3rd year is when what you've been doing really starts to pay off.
Yeah, you're finally like, oh, thank God.
With marketing, yes. And people are so impatient and they think, okay, well, I'll go choose a disco ball and in 30 days people know. No, it takes years.
And you can imagine the look on my face when I'm scrolling online and then I see like other people doing pictures with disco balls and I'm thinking, I need a trademark on that. Like you shouldn't be allowed to do that.
That's ballsy.
So annoying.
It is, but
Because that is so specific to you.
Yeah.
Not anyone in my office, but yes, it's, it is what it is. But the website, I was telling her like we can't let go of, I was telling you too, we can't let go of the disco ball, but I do kind of want to create like a sense of maturity now with that.
Yeah.
But still keep my personality out there because like I'm not bland. Like I'm just not.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, it's starting to click and it's like reaching a point where people, they think of me when they see them.
Consistency and posting and keeping, you've always also kept the red.
Yeah.
And you kept the disco ball and it's not like you've swapped and changed and been blue one week and had another like tie-dye the next week. Like you've been so consistent. I also like how like on your social media marketing, you don't just talk about real estate, but you do a lot with like, what is it? Is it celebrities?
Yeah. So I'm like obsessed with pop culture. Like I love pop culture. My husband's like, I do not get it. Like, but I do love the pop culture. And it's crazy because I started doing fit or quit. I do it on my Instagram story. So like the Grammys.
I look forward to those.
Yeah. So like when there's big award shows in pop culture, like the VMAs, the Grammys, all that, I do fit or quit. So like I share pictures from like the carpet of the people, and I do fit or quit, and you just pick. Like, in your opinion, Michaela, is it a fit or is it a quit? Quit obviously meaning
you would never wear that.
Yeah.
And you're generating engagement.
Yeah.
And it's authentic engagement. Like it's not just
and like
random people that are replying just kind of casually. It's you're having a genuine conversation in the DMs and you're furthering that. It's not just like a one response and done kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's like I think back like, so I have an ideal client and it's someone that's outgoing, easy to talk to. But I also think about like my favorite clients I've ever worked with, and it's people that like I just relate with on things outside of real estate, like similar interests, because I feel like all agents, I mean, I even have clients that if they called me today, I wouldn't answer. Like I'm not working with you again, you know, and it's just, that's part of real estate and sales. But
holy cow.
So what I'm telling myself is if I can get through that, then
you can get through anything.
Yeah, but what I won't do is deal with something like that again for a check.
And you don't have to.
No.
And you can say no.
No.
Okay. Just to wrap it up, I feel like you've like given so much advice on just putting yourself out there, showing up with social media, and you've shown that being yourself is going to help you grow. So is there any like final advice you want to give to like people in business in general for their first year or just in general?
Yeah, first year, like you just can't give up. Like it is so hard your first year. We didn't have internet at my house my first year in real estate. So I was like at 8:00, like driving 15 minutes to like go to a place with internet just to like work. But you cannot give up in your first year because it really does. Real estate is always hard, but like as you learn, it does become more comfortable.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I don't want to say it gets easier because it doesn't. Every transaction is different, but you definitely become more comfortable and more confident in yourself.
Yeah.
So definitely that. And business owners, your first year, 2 years, save your money.
Yes.
Do not spend
everything.
everything. Yeah, you can't. And you have to put back for taxes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please put back for taxes.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah. And just be yourself.
Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming and
Thank
sharing
you for having
so
me.
much.
I loved this. I was nervous, but it was great.
See, it's not that bad once you
No.
start talking, right?
No, I loved it.
Okay,
Yes.
before you go, tell them where they can find you
Yes.
on Facebook, Instagram, all the things.
Okay, yes. So Facebook
Tell them.
Facebook is Realtor Taylor McAllister. So like facebook.com. My business page is Realtor Taylor McAllister. You can add my personal if you want, Taylor McAllister. And then Instagram is at Realtor Taylor McAllister as well.
Yay.
And soon, my website will be Realtor Taylor McAllister. So be on the lookout.
Keeping that branding consistent. I love you.
Heck yeah.
Thank you so much. And we had
Thank
such a great
y'all.
time chatting with you about your business.
Yeah, if y'all like this episode, leave us a review. Y'all know what to do. We would love to hear what you think. So you can DM us on Instagram. Leave us 5 stars if you feel compelled. Subscribe to us. Yeah, do that as well on YouTube. And yeah, we'll see you next Monday.
See you next Monday.